Tell them what you did. Tyler's fist slammed into the living room wall so hard a framed family photo tilted sideways. Everyone turned toward me. I was still holding the bakery box I had brought for my engagement celebration. "What are you talking about?" I asked. Tyler pointed at me, his face red. "You've been sleeping with my girlfriend." The room went silent. His girlfriend, Chloe, sat on the couch with tears running down her cheeks. She would not look at me. "That's not true," I said. "Chloe, tell them." She covered her face. My mother stepped between Tyler and me, but she faced me. "Hannah, how could you do this to your brother?" I didn't. My fiancé, Jason, stood beside the dining table, staring at me as though I had become a stranger. Tyler claimed he had seen messages between Chloe and me. When I demanded to see them, he said he had deleted everything in anger. "Then check my phone," I said, holding it out. Tyler laughed bitterly. "She already erased her side." That was the moment the balance shifted. His missing evidence became proof. My willingness to hand over my phone became part of the performance they believed I had prepared. Jason walked toward me and took my left hand. For one desperate second, I thought he was going to defend me. Instead, he slid off my engagement ring. "I can't marry someone who would betray her own family," he said. The ring struck the table with a small metallic click. I had known Tyler since my parents fostered him at 12. I helped him with homework, defended him at school, and corrected anyone who called him anything other than my brother. Whenever he made mistakes, my parents reminded us that he had suffered enough before entering our family. That night, his pain gave him authority. My history gave me nothing. "Ask Chloe directly," I pleaded. My father looked toward her. "Did something happen between you and Hannah?" Chloe's shoulders shook. She whispered something too low to hear. Tyler answered for her. "She's ashamed." My aunt called me disgusting. My cousin said she had always thought I was jealous of Tyler. People who had congratulated me 10 minutes earlier now avoided touching me. By midnight, my father placed an empty suitcase on my bed. "You can come home when you're ready to admit what you did," he said. "I'm telling the truth." "Then you've chosen this." I packed clothes while my mother stood in the doorway crying without stopping him. At the bus station, I sat alone beneath fluorescent lights, gripping the suitcase between my knees. I was 18, homeless, and no longer engaged because one accusation had become more powerful than every year my family had known me. The driver called for boarding. As I stepped onto the bus, my phone vibrated. Jason had sent one final message: "Don't ever contact me again." The first apartment I could afford had one window, a broken heater, and a lock that jammed whenever it rained. I worked mornings at a diner and evenings stocking shelves at a grocery store. Some nights, I slept in my uniform because changing felt like wasted energy. For months, I kept expecting someone from home to call. Nobody did. I wrote my parents 3 letters. In every one, I explained that Tyler had lied, that there had never been anything between Chloe and me, and that I would take any test or answer any question they wanted. None received a reply. The only information I got came through people who still had my old number. One former classmate told me Tyler and Chloe had broken up less than a month after I left. "That doesn't make sense," I said. "He said I destroyed their relationship." "She won't talk about it," my classmate replied. "And Tyler gets angry whenever anyone asks." That stayed with me. I began replaying the weeks before the accusation. Tyler had started guarding his phone constantly. He snapped at our mother when she picked it up to move it off the kitchen counter. Twice, Chloe asked whether she could speak to me alone, but Tyler interrupted before she could explain why. The third time, she avoided me completely. For a while, I thought those details might help me prove something. Then I realized I was building a case for people who had already delivered their verdict. So I stopped waiting. I moved to another city, changed my number, and enrolled in night classes. I studied accounting because numbers could be traced, tested, and verified. They did not choose the loudest person in the room. 11 years passed. By then, I had a career, a home, and a life nobody from my family knew anything about. Then one evening, an email appeared from an unfamiliar address. The subject line contained only my name. Inside was a single sentence: You were innocent, and I don't know how to live with what I did. I stared at the email for almost an hour. There was no signature. No explanation, no request. Just one sentence that reopened a part of my life I had spent 11 years trying to bury. I closed my laptop and walked away. I closed morning. Another email arrived. This one was longer. Hannah, please let me explain. You deserve the truth. If you'll meet me once, I'll answer every question. The sender's name finally appeared beneath the message. Chloe. I almost deleted it. Instead, curiosity won. We agreed to meet at a busy cafe downtown on Saturday afternoon. I chose a table where dozens of people surrounded us. If this was another trap, I wasn't going to face it alone. When Chloe walked in, I barely recognized her. She looked exhausted. She sat down, wrapped both hands around a cup of coffee, and struggled to meet my eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? For destroying your life. I didn't answer. She took a shaky breath. There was never anything between us, not even a conversation that could have been misunderstood. I know that, I said quietly. What I don't know is why you stayed silent. Tears filled her eyes. I was terrified. She had barely spoken those words when the cafe door flew open. Hannah! Every muscle in my body tightened. Tyler. He marched across the cafe, his face burning with anger. What are you doing? He demanded, glaring at Chloe. After everything, you're still trying to ruin this family? Several customers looked up from their tables. Chloe stood for the first time. No, Tyler. His expression changed. She had never challenged him before. You lied, she said, loudly enough for nearby tables to hear. Sit down, Tyler hissed. I'm done protecting you. His jaw clenched. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. People had begun recording with their phones. Tyler lowered his voice. Think very carefully before you do this. I have, Chloe replied. For 11 years. She turned toward me. Hannah, Tyler wasn't trying to protect me. She looked back at him. He was protecting himself. Tyler's confidence cracked. What are you talking about? I asked. He was seeing another woman while we were together. The cafe fell silent around us. I found out, Chloe continued. I confronted him. Then, a few days later, you accidentally saw something you were never supposed to see. I searched my memory. What did I see? You saw his phone light up with messages from her. You asked me who she was. The memory hit me all at once. I had asked one innocent question in our kitchen. Tyler had walked in seconds later. His face had gone pale. He thought you'd eventually figure it out, Chloe said. He couldn't risk that. Tyler slammed both hands onto the table. That's enough. Without another word, he turned and rushed toward the exit. No one stopped him. Chloe slowly reached into her purse. She removed an old silver flash drive and placed it between us. She looked directly at me. Everything starts here. I picked up the flash drive but didn't plug it in right away. For 11 years, I had imagined hundreds of explanations. None of them had ever given me my life back. What is on this? I asked. Chloe swallowed hard. Everything I was too afraid to keep on my computer. That evening, I sat alone in my home office with my laptop open. The first folder was labeled simply, Timeline. Inside were emails Chloe had forwarded to a private account years earlier, before Tyler could delete them. One message made my stomach tighten. Don't change your story. Say Hannah admitted it. They'll believe family before they'll believe her. Another read. Delete your messages after this. There were screenshots showing Tyler coaching Chloe on exactly what to say if anyone questioned her. Every false detail that had destroyed my reputation had been rehearsed. I leaned back in my chair, unable to breathe for several seconds. Then I opened the next folder. Medical documents. There were appointment confirmations, insurance records, and copies of hospital paperwork connected to another woman. The dates matched the exact weeks Tyler had accused me. Chloe called as I stared at the screen. You've seen them? Yes. The woman was pregnant. My eyes closed. So that's what he was hiding. Yes. He thought I knew. You didn't, Chloe answered. You only saw a notification on his phone. But he panicked. He convinced himself that sooner or later you'd ask questions. The final folder contained exported text messages recovered from an old cloud backup. Tyler had written every major accusation before he ever made it publicly. He had practically scripted the entire confrontation. I finally understood why nobody had found proof against me. He had destroyed the original conversations and preserved only the version he wanted people to believe. The next afternoon, Chloe met me again. There was something else, she admitted quietly. What? He threatened me. She looked down at her hands. He said he'd expose private information about my parents if I told anyone the truth. I was 19. I believed him. I nodded slowly. I should have fought anyway. You were scared. I was. We sat in silence. Finally, she asked the question neither of us had avoided. What are you going to do now? I looked out the cafe window. I spent 11 years rebuilding my life. I know. I don't want revenge. What do you want? The truth on the record. Instead of calling Tyler or confronting my parents, I authorized copies of every recovered file to be sent directly to the attorney handling Tyler's ongoing divorce. The evidence didn't arrive as revenge. It arrived as documentation. Within days, Tyler's attorney was forced to answer questions he couldn't avoid. Financial disclosures exposed additional lies unrelated to me. The fabricated affair story was examined alongside the recovered digital records. One contradiction after another collapsed. Meanwhile, Tyler began calling everyone from our old family, former relatives, old friends, even people I hadn't spoken to since I was 18. He insisted Chloe was lying. But for the first time, he wasn't asking people to trust him. He was asking them to ignore evidence. My parents finally compared what they remembered with the recovered messages. My father admitted something that should have been obvious years earlier. I never actually saw any proof. Neither had anyone else. Late that night, my phone buzzed over and over. Missed call, voicemail, text message, another missed call. My mother, my father, my aunt, my former fiancé. The messages were almost identical. Hannah, can we please see you? The truth came out during Tyler's divorce proceedings. His attorney fought to keep the recovered files from becoming part of the record, but the judge allowed the evidence that directly related to his credibility and documented pattern of deception. One by one, the lies that had shaped my life unraveled. A digital forensic examiner testified that the emails on Chloe's flash drive matched records preserved in cloud backups. The timestamps aligned with archived account activity. The recovered text messages showed Tyler instructing Chloe exactly what to say before he ever accused me in our parents' living room. The examiner explained that Tyler had selectively deleted conversations from his own phone while preserving carefully chosen fragments to support a false narrative. Then Chloe testified. She didn't try to excuse herself. I lied because I was afraid, she said through tears. Tyler told me that if I admitted the truth, he'd ruin my parents financially and publicly expose private information about our family. I believed him. Hannah never touched me. She never betrayed either of us. She was innocent from the beginning. The courtroom became so quiet I could hear pages turning. Next came the hospital records. They confirmed Tyler had been supporting another woman throughout the same period he accused me. The pregnancy timeline matched perfectly. The message notification I had accidentally seen all those years earlier had belonged to her. He hadn't accused me because I had done anything wrong. He accused me because he thought I had seen enough to expose his double life before he could control the story. The moment he realized I might ask questions, he decided to destroy my credibility first. That single decision cost me my family, my engagement, my home, and 11 years of my life. After the hearing, news spread through our hometown faster than the original accusation ever had. Only this time, there was evidence. People who had whispered about me now whispered about Tyler. His employer placed him on administrative leave while reviewing unrelated honesty violations revealed during the proceedings. Within weeks, he was dismissed. His marriage officially ended. Longtime friends stopped answering his calls after reading the court filings. Even extended relatives who had defended him for years admitted they had been manipulated. My parents requested a meeting. I declined. Jason, the man who had slipped my engagement ring off my finger without asking for proof, wrote me a handwritten letter. I failed you when trusting you mattered most. I'll regret that for the rest of my life. I never replied. My mother mailed photographs from my childhood, with notes tucked inside each envelope. We should have listened. I miss my daughter. I'm so sorry. I read every letter once. Then I placed them in a box and stored them away. Forgiveness and reconciliation were never the same thing. Months later, my parents organized a family gathering. They invited everyone. Relatives traveled from different states. They reserved my favorite restaurant from childhood. They were convinced I would finally come. I already knew about it. One of my cousins had quietly sent me the invitation without expecting an answer. That same weekend, my husband and I took our 2 young children to the coast. We spent the afternoon building sandcastles, laughing whenever the waves washed them away. My daughter insisted I help her collect seashells. My son challenged me to a race along the shoreline. Neither of them knew anything about the girl who had once stood alone at a bus station with one suitcase and nowhere to go. And I intended to keep it that way until they were old enough to understand. As the sun began to set, my phone vibrated once. A message from my mother. We waited all afternoon. I looked at it for a long moment before locking the screen without responding. I wasn't trying to punish anyone. I simply wasn't going backward. The people who mattered were already beside me. The family I had lost had been built on unquestioning loyalty to a lie. The family I had found was built on trust. For the first time since I was 18, I felt completely free. They finally believed the truth, but by then, I had already learned how to live without the people who refused to believe me when it mattered most.